Welcome to our today's lesson. As you know, we have been doing soil fertility, and we began somewhere where we discussed about both organic and inorganic fertilizers. We said organic fertilizers are those fertilizers that are made bought in the market, and then inorganic fertilizers, they are made at home. Sorry, the organic fertilizers are bought from the market, and organic fertilizers are made at home. And we gave examples of organic fertilizers where we gave green manure, talked about farmyard manure, talked about compost manure, and lastly we talked about organic mulches. Then from there we went to inorganic fertilizers, the ones that are made locally in the industries and where chemicals are used. We talked about being divided into two. The inorganic fertilizers are divided into two, in what we call the straight fertilizers and compound fertilizers or mixed fertilizers. Then we saw that the straight fertilizers, they are called straight fertilizers because they have one macronutrient. Remember when we were starting the lessons, we said we have both macronutrient and micronutrient, depending on what the plants require. So there are those plants that will require the nutrients in high amounts. We call those high amounts of nutrients macronutrients. The one that required in small quantities, there are plants that require just small quantities of the nutrients. We say that they require it in micronutrients, the micronutrients. So we said straight fertilizers are containing only one macronutrient, either nitrogen, talk about potassium and the like. But and we say that there are three types of straight fertilizers: potassic fertilizers, nitrogenous fertilizers, and then phosphatic fertilizers. When it came to nitrogenous fertilizers, I gave you example of CAN, calcium ammonium nitrate, and the rest. Then we talked about potassic fertilizers, and then phosphatic, of course, fertilizers. Then we went to compound fertilizers, where we said compound fertilizers contain two or more macronutrients. You find that in their composition they have two or more macronutrients, and we gave examples as MAP, monoammonium nitrate, or monoammonium nitrate. We have the DAP, the ammonium fertilizers, and so forth and so on. So today we want to see the advantages of those both organic manures and inorganic manures, the ones that we make at home and the ones that we buy from the market. So do they have advantages to the plants? Yes, they have several advantages. And one advantage, remember what we said in our definition, that we are improving the soil fertility so that the plant can be able to give a lot of yields. So number one, it results in high growth of rate crops. Results in high growth rate in crops. You can compare two types of plants that will grow at the same place, and then add in one plant, add manure, and then see how they are going to grow. The one that you have added manure is going to grow very fast and robustly, so that within some period of time you can be able to see the difference, because one is getting a lot of nutrients, then the other one is just growing in normal soil. Then number two, so we are saying that fertilizers and manures result in high growth of rate of crops. Crops grow very fast because they are getting the nutrients that they require, so they grow very fast. Number two, it leads to high crop yields, which are high quality. So increases crop yields and quality. Now this what I'm talking about, increasing crop yields. This increasing crop yields is just the produce. Let's say, for example, if you have 2 hectares of land, 1 acre and another one there. Here you plant maize and also here you plant maize. In this particular 1 acre, plant maize and use manures and fertilizers. Then this one, don't use manures, just plant the way they are and wait until the time of harvest. the number of crop yields or the number of sacks you'll get of maize from this particular land will be higher compared to this one. That means if you use manures, you are going to get high yields. Then look at also the quality. What is the quality? Quality means goodness of a thing. So look at the goodness of that particular maize. The maize will be shining. In fact, when it's growing in its initial stages at a height of 1 feet, you find that the maize will look dark green, meaning that the color is so nice. Then after yielding, after getting producing the crops, look at the maize. A maize that is having manures to be raised, you find that maize is so nice in terms of its color. Look at the maize grains, the way they are arranged in the cob. They are not spaces because a lot of manure was used to be able to develop them. So when you talk about quality, you talk about the goodness. Take for example the tomatoes. Tomatoes where you are not using manures, you can easily find that the tomatoes are going to be very small in size, and many of them have some holes. When you touch on them, they remove some water. That quality is not good, and no one will buy tomatoes like that. But a person who will go for a bigger tomato, very nice one, good looking, and that person will be able to buy that. So once we use manures and fertilizers, we improve the yield, the number of sacks we are going to get, and then the quality. The quality also improves. Then number 3, manures and fertilizers leads to growth of crops that are deep green in color. Deepens the green color in crops. That is what I have just explained. Plants where you have used manures and fertilizers, find that their color is very deep green, dark green, because they are getting all the nutrients required. Number 4, encourages vegetative growth. Encourages vegetative growth in plants where the leaves are harvested. I'm writing in short form, but I'll explain in full. That manures and fertilizers encourage vegetative growth. What do you mean by vegetative, Lana? It simply means leaves. That a plant, when grown using manures and fertilizers, can be able to produce a lot of branches and produce large leaves. And that is exactly what happens in those plants that we harvest the leaves. And for example, talk about the cabbage, talk about the kales, talk about the spinach. In this, we don't harvest the grains, we get the leaves. So once we use manures and fertilizers, we encourage growth of big leaves, because that is what we want. Quantity of the leaves, one big leaves, so that they can be able to sell at a very good price in the markets. So once you use these manures and fertilizers, you are able to achieve vegetative growth, which will lead to fetching of high prices in the market. Number 5 leads to quick ripening of fruits. I know we discussed about some macronutrients like sulfur. Look at the sulfur, what it does. Sulfur and other types of nutrients leads to fast ripening of crops. If you want your fruits to ripe very fast, you apply sulfur. After they grow to maturity, you apply sulfur and they grow, they just ripen very fast, and you can be able to sell them in the market. So some of these inorganic fertilizers, their work is to ripen the fruits. Then we go to number 6. Point number 6. And number 6 provides the necessary nutrients for growth and development of crops. Provides necessary nutrients for development and growth of crops. For any plant to be able to grow to maturity from germination and growing to maturity and producing high yields, you need manures and fertilizers. So what they do, they give the required nutrients. If, for example, like I've been talking about the CAN, calcium ammonium nitrate. This one, once used, a plant grows and to a height of half a feet, the farmer will start top dressing. What top dressing means that you're applying this fertilizer at the base of the plant. At the base there, you just dig a small trench there. You apply the fertilizer, maybe 2 spoons. That will encourage, it's a nitrogenous fertilizer, so it can encourage high growth. So the plant will get the required nutrients, the necessary nutrients for its growth and development. So that is what it means. Once you apply manure, you apply these inorganic fertilizers, they make the plants grow to the required sizes and produce the necessary amount of yields. It increases the size of seeds, grains, and fruits. The use of fertilizers, manures, increases the size of seeds, grains, and fruits. Sometimes you go to the market in the kibanda to buy some tomatoes. You find some small tomatoes and other big tomatoes. The difference is brought about by the use of fertilizer and manures. In a farm where fertilizer was used, manure was used, that those tomatoes are going to be very strong and they are going to give bigger fruits. Talk about the mangoes and the like. The same way, grains, when you plant with beans and then you use fertilizer, it's different from another farmer who plants the same beans that does not use manures or organic fertilizers. The size of the grains are going to be very small. So that's what it means in that point. Then point number 8, it strengthens the plant stems. Strengthens plant stems. Use of manures and fertilizers strengthens plant stems that support the plants. You have ever seen a plant that has grown, but you look at its stem, it's very weak. That simply means that farmer did not apply manures and fertilizers at the beginning when the person was planting. Meaning that sometimes it grows a certain height and then it will fall down. Meaning that it's not able to even support its branches. The stem is not able to support its branches, and therefore that particular plant will not reach maturity and it will never bear fruits, because at a certain height it will just fall down and that will be the end of that particular plant. Last point, Nana. Last point. It improves soil fertility. Manures and fertilizers, I think that was number 6, if I'm not 7, if I'm wrong. The use of these improves soil fertility. It improves soil fertility in the following ways. There are 4 ways in which the use of manures and fertilizers improve soil fertility. And what we say soil fertility is the ability of the soil to support plants to maturity and be able to give yields. That is what we call soil fertility. So number 1, it improves the ability of the soil to hold water. I want to take more time on this particular point because this is a question in the exam. What improves water holding capacity in soil? And the answer will be either humus, straw, fertilizers. But in most cases, this is not an answer. Why? We know the effects of fertilizers. The inorganic fertilizers have effects because one of the things is that use of this for a long time loosens the soil. Later when you talk about loosened soil, is that soil in which the particles cannot they are not bounded. They are just far away apart. So if the soil particles are not bound together, that means that soil is loose. Look, for example, the sand soil. The particles of sand soil are far apart. They just can be spread. But look at the soil, just like loam soil or clay soil, the soil particles are together because clay soil and loam soil have humus in them, meaning that the humus binds the soil particles together. I want you to understand that, Lana. It is this humus that binds the soil particles together. So if soil is loose, it means that it's soil that's lacking humus, soil that's lacking fertility. So that is a simple way of explaining what it means by improving soil water holding capacity. That ability of the soil to hold water. Look at how water drains in a sand soil. You just pour a glass of water on sand soil, another glass of water on clay soil or loam soil. You will see that the one you pour on clay soil will take a longer time for it to be able to drain, to sit down in the soil, because the soil particles are bound together, and therefore the sizes of the spaces in there are small. Sand soil has bigger spaces, meaning that water will allow because the soil particles are far apart. So manures and fertilizers improve fertility by binding soil particles together, and therefore that improves soil water holding capacity. Number 2, bind the soil particles together, binds the soil particles. I've just explained that manures and fertilizers binds soil particles together. That's what happens when you don't use fertilizer in a farm that you have been using fertilizer. If you don't use fertilizer that particular year, you will never harvest anything because the soil has become loose. But when you use fertilizer, the soil particles are bound together, meaning that the soil will not allow water to go down there, but it will hold the water to be used by the crops once you plant them, and so they will get the required amounts of water to be able to give high yields. Then number 3, releases nutrients to the soil. The importance of these manures and fertilizers is to release nutrients into the soil. That one we said that though sometimes in manures they take a longer time, like for example green manure, which takes the longest time to release nutrients in the soil. And you'll be asked in an exam, why is the use of green manure or manures in generally is avoided? Why is it avoided? Because it will take a longer time to be able to release these nutrients. 3 to 4 weeks is not a short time learning. So once we use fertilizers and manures, they release nutrients in the soil, and therefore crops can be able to use that particular part of the nutrient that has been released there, maybe to ripen the fruits or to increase the size of the grains, etc. Then the last one, Lana, improves circulation of air in the soil. Lana, remember what we talked about in class 4, the components of soil. What soil contains? Soil contains 5 things. Soil contains water, contains air, it contains mineral particles, it contains living things, small animals, and it contains organic matter, which is humus. So that part, organic matter or humus, this one supports the small animals from the soil, because this becomes the food. Remember what we were talking about when we talked about in compost pit, talked about farmyard manure being the food for the bacteria. So these small animals, they are able to stay there because there is organic matter, there is humus, in which the animals will feed on to be able to contain them. So what is the importance of these small animals in the soil? Their work is to make sure that the soil is aerated. Aerated soil is that they make some ways inside the soil as they dig following this organic matter or humus. So they make ways inside the soil, meaning that at the end of the day, the soil has ways inside, down there. Therefore, it means that they are going to allow the soil to have some air circulation, because air will circulate in there. So Lana, I want to stop at that point. Once we meet again in our next lesson, Lana, we are going to do disadvantages of using manures and fertilizers. So until next time, I want to wish you all the best. Make short notes of what we have done and be able to read on your own back at home. Thank you and God bless you.